Aloha. We are looking at two-step equations today. Now there's quite a lot of them. Last time I got bored and sat down and came up with 78 two-step equations. But just to show you the most basic 6, and that is showing all the inverse operation. So the first one is the inverse of square root is square. So what you're going to do is you're going to square both sides to get rid of the square root. And of course, square of 2 is 4. And then you do the second step, the inverse of minus is plus. So then you end up with 5. So that's 2 steps. The first one is square here to get rid of the square root. And then plus here to get rid of the minus. So that's the first one. The second one, if you are going to be taking the inverse of square, the inverse of square is plus and minus square root. Don't forget the plus and minus. A lot of people forget the plus and minus square root. So the first step is you're going to take the plus and minus square root to get that, and of course plus and minus square root of 16 is plus and minus 4, which means x, and so you plus 2 to both sides, so then it's 2 plus and minus 4. So what is plus and minus 4? So you go plus 4 or minus 4. That's what plus and minus means. In other words, x then equals 6 or x equals minus 2. Two possible answers, and when you substitute back into the equation, you find that it works. So third inverse. So you have square root square, then you have divide. Divide means over. So that's there. So the first step is do the inverse of over. So the inverse of over is times. So in this case, you times by 2 because over 2 means divided by 2. So you end up with 3 times 2 is 6, and then the inverse of minus is plus. You put plus there, so you end up with u equals 7. So that's 3, and you have 3 more. So the next one is going to be like this. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is the inverse of plus is minus. So then you have 2u that equals 11 minus 3 is 8. And then the next step, 2u means 2 times u, and inverse is divided by 2. So you end up with 4. The next one is, of course, going to be the inverse of minus is plus 4 plus 4, so you end up with 14, and then again you divide it by 2, and then you get 7. So the only last one left is then, so that's plus, the inverse is minus, and that's minus, and the inverse is plus. So you've got so far square root, square, divide, and then the last one is of course a time. So number 6, minus 5. Y minus 1 equals 15. Okay. This one, minus 5 with bracket, means the bracket times minus 5. And so there's invisible times here. So then the opposite, or the inverse, of course, is divide. And divide means over. So the first step you do is over minus 5. Over minus 5. This is more elegant than if you were to expand the bracket. So you end up with y minus 1 equals minus 3, and then you do the inverse of minus is plus, equals -2. That's the answer. So this one is inverse of times is divide. So this is the inverse of times. This one is the inverse of minus, and this one's the inverse of plus. And so these are the 6 standard inverses for two-step equations. Over and out.